Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So we're heading down to my grandpa's farm to pick up the 496 Case IH disc. We're gonna hook it to the 8650 and we're gonna go disc some wet ground that I couldn't get planted with beans. This video should wrap up bean planting for the season. And then it looks like it's gonna be time to bale some alfalfa. Stuff's looking beautiful this year. Filled out really nice this year. Looks real nice. Get that baled. We got corn up in the 2-leaf stage here at the home place. So everything's coming together so far this season. Looks nice. Looks like we got a pretty good stand out there. So let's go get the disc and go get some discing done. We got the disc hooked up. We're heading to the field. I had George come pick me up. I had to run home and talk to my garage builder for a little bit. So we got all that stuff figured out. And now we're going to head over and get those wet spots disced up. So I ended up having 3 spots that I got a disc for wet ground. And then I need to run to my farm that I farm down here and disc all the heavier corn stalks, and the rest of it we're just going to no-till. So, got a little wet ground to deal with first, and then we got some regular just tillage work to do. So I'm just going to double disc that corn stalks. I'm not going to run soil finish or anything like that over them. So hopefully once I get done discing them corn stalks, I'll be able to go get the 9300 and I'll go plant those wet spots this afternoon. Hopefully a little bit of sun on that will dry out the top and I'll be able to scoot right across it and get it planted. Well, we're at our first wet spot here, so let's get this disced and see how it turns out. Should be okay. It doesn't look like there's any standing water, so I think if I get it disced, should be able to plant this afternoon. So let's see what happens. about this in my previous video. There's a tile that actually runs across this field to the ditch to the north there, and it's only a 6-inch tile, and it gets plugged up with leaves and sticks and stuff from the woods over here along this far south ditch. So it plugs up and it can't drain, and then it overflows the ditch banks and comes out into the field and makes this a wet spot. So if I could dig an open ditch across, it would eliminate the tile issue, and this wouldn't happen. I don't know if you can see it, but the water in that ditch right there is the same, almost the same as the ground level. I know I could empty that ditch if I could dig across. I'll get the weeds knocked down. We did get part of this planted corn last year, but it got so wet that it didn't grow very well. Back corner all disced, moved up here to the front. Get this spot disced real quick. I think I can get this one this afternoon planted. Maybe not. try this wet ground again, see if we can't get beans planted on it. I think it should go. I got them spots over there all spotted in. Them weren't real well, so hopefully this will go good and I'll get this patched in. And then the other spots are kind of like little fields on their own, so I'm not too worried about them. But I'd like to get this one done, and I got the other one done before it rains like they say it's going to. So if it's anything like it's been, they say rain and it never comes. So let's see what we can get done. So I am trying a little trick that I learned last year. I've got the hitch tipped back on the planter to kind of cock the front of the row units up to keep them from dragging. See if that helps. I forgot I did it last year, and I thought about it today. I'm like, you know, I used to pick that hitch up a little bit. I'm gonna try that and see what happens. So far, so good. Well, it made it through that pass. Started this morning, and I'm trying to get it planted. The outside edges are fairly dry, but when you get to where the wet spot was, it's getting a little tacky. Let's see how far we can get in there. I released all the down pressure on all the row units, so I'm just kind of letting them float. I can pick the toolbar up just a little bit to take some more pressure off of them, kind of let them dangle, but I can't go too far with it or my wheel won't make contact with the transport wheel to drive the planter. You can put like a hydraulic motor on that. So that way I can keep it turning while I'm dragging it through the mud. Well, don't fall in. Up there. Ah, there we go. There we go. I don't have much ends to turn on. I only made two passes. I think we can get us another one yet. Try it and see what happens here. Got to get the planter set down on the firm ground so it can float on the row units. Maybe. Maybe. Oh boy. Nope. 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 Hey, we made it. Much rather plant behind the soil finisher with the rolling basket. bed finisher seems to pack the ground back down where this is fluffy from the disc. And what happens is those corn stalks kind of go up against the row units and they start to push dirt. If they were, see, like right there, that's what happened. Darn it. If they were patted down a little bit, they wouldn't do that. Plus, I think it helped to have new coulters on my no-till holders, because then I could move them up a little bit and get the bearings away from the ground. I'm just going to drag that back the other way. It's not the proper thing to do, but in this case, it's okay. We're getting some beans in the dirt. As long as they're in the dirt, we don't care where they're at, just as long as they grow. We're going to cut it with a bean head anyways, a platform. So what's it matter if they're, you know, end up 7.5 inch spacings instead of 15, or if they just end up like you threw them out there. In fact, this spot I had thought about just getting some in a spreader cart, spreading them and lightly disking it. Actually, that happened one time. Well, it wasn't with a spreader cart. I had a new to me Great Plains box drill, and this was when I was really young. Just, I think it was like my first year of planting beans. I didn't have the depth set right, and it pretty much just kind of laid them right on top of the ground. My grandpa suggested just taking the field cultivator out there and just lightly field cultivating it. He's like, the beans are already distributed at 140 population, you just got to bury them. I think that was probably one of the best crop of soybeans we ever had. Probably should do that more often. Gets lucky on this pass. Maybe. We'll see. Yep. Not gonna push our luck. I've got planted up to that spot on both sides, so I'm just going to go up there on the higher ground. I'm going to square that off. And we're just going to stay out of that mud hole because I got plenty of that planted. Let me back up. I'm too close to the ditch. Kind of did whatever I had to do to get out of there so I wouldn't get hung up. We're going to call that good. with that. We got it whittled down to just probably well, I don't know, 100 by a 50 square maybe, or a rectangle. So it's close enough. That'll work. I'm happy with that, because it could be another 2 weeks before that hole dries out. If we get a bunch of rain, I would have never got the rest of that planted. So gave up a little to gain some. So no big deal. Now, there's probably going to be some guys in the comments that are like, I can't believe you're mudding that planter up like that. This is not clay. It's not a heavy soil. If it was clay, that stuff dries. It gets hard as concrete. It won't come out. Wheels won't turn. Just destroys the planter. This is so organic that it'll dry up overnight with the planter in the air like this and the wind blowing around it or breeze. It'll dry up so quick, it like cracks, crumbles, and falls right out. It shrinks, and it falls right out. You can take off the next morning through the field, and you'll see like just little chunks flying out and falling out. You know, it looks like it took a pepper shaker behind the planter of little chunks of peat moss and muck. So the stuff comes right out. Not like you gotta try to dig it out with a screwdriver and take all the gauge wheels off and pressure wash behind them. The centrifugal force throws it right out. So trust me, if I knew that it was gonna be a disaster, I wouldn't even attempt it. But I just know how the characteristics of this dirt, and it's just one thing. It's not a big deal. So I know I should have probably stayed out of there in general, but at the same time, whatever I can gain is a little extra at the end of the year. And a lot of the times, if you can get it planted, you can get a real good crop off of it. The one video, I got a lot of hate over when Dad got the 4955 stuck last spring. They actually picked that corn when I was in Georgia at the operators competition, so I wasn't there. But Dad said that hole was about 200 bushel acre corn where he got the planter stuck, and we planted out when I pulled him out. So it was definitely worth planting that corn. Yeah, we got the tractor stuck, got the planter a little mudded up, no big deal. Made a cool YouTube short though. Everybody called us stupid, but in the end, we got a crop off of it. And also, what was it? Oh, about 2-3 weeks later, Dad came back, side dressed anhydrous on that same exact spot, drove right through it, dry as can be. Didn't spin a tire, didn't nothing. So you can get it planted, you can get a crop off of it. All right, I'm gonna go to the next hole and see if I can do anything there. To the next spot, and I'm really impressed how well this dried out and firmed up. I was cutting tracks really bad the first time I tried to plant this. Seems to be going really well now. Alright, we're going to try to plant some in the field now. Down before it cuts the tracks. That's nice. Perfect. Whoops. Going close to the ditch there. Stop back around. A little bit rough. Also a little close to the fiber optic box here in the front. It's stupid. Well, we should be okay. So I did get some planted down here, that's why that's not disc over there. I kind of just went and disc where I made a lot of tracks. That's why this is going to be an odd shape. I didn't want to disturb the beans that were actually planted to spec. Let's see what we can do. And knock some of these long rows out. good. Discing, it really helped. The breeze and the sun also today really helped. Like I said, it's so organic that it dries out pretty quick. And then it kind of wicks more of the moisture out as it dries. And disc it very straight. That's alright. As long as beans are getting underground, that's all I care. Yeah, I got a little squirmy, a little rough. Just enough to turn. Oh, sit it right back down. So that way, if it does fall in, it don't cut extremely deep tracks. About a foot of sand over this whole area and chisel plow it in. That would really help this spot. This end we can raise it up because this is a sand hill. Come back and spray it. I will give the Wilmar one thing. It does very good out in the soft ground. Means it's articulated, you can kind of wiggle through. It's lightweight. Everybody picks on it because it's so small, but back in the day, a 765 Wilmar was kind of considered the Cadillacs of the sprayers, especially the air ride ones. I don't know if you can get an articulated sprayer anymore. It seems like they're all rigid frame four-wheel steer, or yeah, I think some of them four-wheel steer. Oh, can't find my marker track now. Oh, there it is. Hard to tell what my marker track is and what is just the end of the disc once in a while. go kind of slow because it gives the road units time to roll up and over the soft stuff rather than kind of just shoot through it. For the remote and hit the throttle instead. Alright, I'm gonna try for another in-road here. Plant it to beans, there's going to be one more field to plant. Plant it to hay, obviously, we won't put beans on it. I guess that's a decision I'm going to have to make. Dad's on my farm right now planting some corn. So we're not going to end this video just yet. We'll see what else we get into. I'm going to go plant around that surface drain real quick. Tickled that is done. And we're about out of beans. So that's another determining factor. Do I want to open up another box? I guess I can get some bags. Because Grandma's isn't going to take a full box. It's not going to take a mini bulk bag either, which is the same as what's in a box. I'll probably just do paper bags if I'm going to do anything. There we go. Let's plant it around. I can do one more. It's soft right there. Make sure I got this teardrop shape here planted. Yep, definitely know it's playing out. Alright, I'm going to make my way to the high ground and get out of here. Finally get to see Dad plant some corn. I only disced the lower ground on this farm because the stalks were pretty heavy and it was a little bit wet. The rest of it's all getting no-tilled. I don't want to lose what moisture there is. Well, Dad's gonna get this planted. I gotta run to Menards and get some more material for the garage so they can continue working on it tomorrow. They got one wall up and it looks good. It's just they need some more wood. So George and I are gonna park this truck up here and gonna go get Clifton. We're gonna take Clifton's truck and go get some wood. Oh, would you look at that beautiful rain. Oh, that's nice. Other than getting the wood wet. But the yard got a nice drink. The hay got a nice drink. Them beans over there got some water. This is exactly what we needed, was a good slow rain. And that's what we've been getting for probably like the last 4 hours. So it's a good thing I got all those beans finished up yesterday, and Dad got all the low ground on my farm planted last night, so great. We got our 2x4s we needed. They're all stacked there on the end, so hopefully when the rain stops, they can get back to working on the garage here. So they got one wall up yesterday, all the sill plates on. They had to do some things on the end of the house. But it looks good so far, so I can't wait to get this finished up. And then that's the last, well, not quite the last puzzle piece to the house, but a major puzzle piece done. All that's left to do is the front porch on the front of the house. And then eventually someday we might do a porch on the back of the house. We're not sure yet. So, all right, I'm gonna head to the shop. We gotta go look at a job. We got a customer that wants to put some storage units in. And they want us to do all the grade work for the storage units. So got to go check that out today. So let's see what we get into today.